Although the SUMIF, COUNTIF, and AVERAGEIF functions give us a lot of capability in tabulating information, they don't allow us to use multiple criteria. And sometimes that's what we want. For example, we might want to know the average salary of the full-time people who have a job rating of 5. Or maybe we want to know the average job rating of those people who have been here more than so many years. Or we might want to know the average salary of those people who have been here so many years and have a job rating. In other words, using multiple criteria from different aspects of the data in a list like this. So the 3 functions in question that we will be using all end in the letter S, and they correspond with the other 3 functions. So we're about to talk about COUNTIFs, SUMIFs, and AVERAGEIFs. Let's start with the idea here that we might want to tabulate data regarding full-time employees and those who have job ratings. I'm going to put these in column K, and to make it a bit simpler, I've got lined up in column L some of the criteria that we're going to use. Not all of them, but some of them. So let's start with the idea of counting how many people in our list here are full-time who have a job rating of 5. Equal, COUNTIFs. Now, the pop-up below this shows criteria range 1, and we can't see the rest of it. But think of these as happening in pairs. The first pair is the combination of these 2 locations, the status right here, comma, and the fact that it's full-time. Now, we could type double quote full-time, double quote, or since it is over in cell L2, that makes it a little easier, we'll just click there. So that's one criteria pair, comma. We might have another. And we can have up to 31 of these, so quite a few. The next criteria pair will be job rating. That's in column I, comma, and we're looking for those that have a 5 in there. That's a numeric entry, so you don't have to put it in quotes. So how many full-time people have a job rating of 5? 102 of them. And we could possibly imagine having a list of those that have a job rating of 4 and 3 and 2 and so on. But in the example here, we're simply looking for 2 sets of criteria together. When this is true, in other words, when the entry is full-time and when the job performance, the job rating is 5, let's keep account of only those situations where both are true. Now we could add a third argument here, those who have been here so many years, comma, I'll click column F, comma, and if we want to say greater than 9 or greater than 10, something like that, we use double quote, and I'll use greater than 9, double quote. So a third criteria set. Think of these as pairs. The first pair is about the status being full-time. The second pair is the job rating being 5. The third pair is the years of service being greater than 9. So we press enter, and we've got 32 people. Remember, our previous answer, as I press Control Z, was 102. Pressing Control Y, reverse order here. And once again, displaying the function, we see COUNTIFs used with multiple criteria. We might want to perform something similar using SUMIFs. We might want to tabulate the salaries. But if we change this to sum, watch the pop-up tip below this change also. SUMIFs begins with the range that we're trying to tabulate. So if we're trying to tabulate salaries here, we would first put in the entry for column H, comma. Then we've got our criteria pair. Here's a pair right here. And I'm essentially using the same ones that I had used with the COUNTIFs, now with SUMIFs, but we tabulate the totals. We're going to be adding the salaries from column H based on this criteria set being true, this being true, and this being true. Enter. And if we wanted to do that for the others right here, we'll simply double-click, copy downward to see what those are. And a quick format there off the Home tab would probably be appropriate too, a comma and hide the decimals. So we see what's happening there too. So SUMIFs, unlike COUNTIFs, begins with what we're trying to tabulate. And AVERAGEIFs follows this same basic structure. What's the average salary? Followed by ifs. AVERAGEIFs, so we're getting the salary out of column H for these 3 criteria pairs. In other words, once again, we're looking at status is full-time, job rating is 5, and years of service greater than 9. And as we complete these, we have another answer here. These are the average salaries. And again, double click if we want to copy the others here as well. So these are quite powerful. And we can have up to 31 pairs here. And we've only used 3 in these examples here. but it gives us much more power in tabulating information like this. We see an average ifs here, and this was preceded by a sum ifs and a count ifs. They allow multiple criteria when working with database type lists to come up with totals.